Back to After Hours, guys. Yeah, today we've got Cameron. Cameron's got an amazing podcast which I'll be featuring on soon. It's called TOMU or TOMU, the Open Mic Unfiltered. And yeah, I mean, I just came across Cameron on Instagram, and we both kind of started chatting, and I listened to. I knew he'd had issues with alcohol and drugs in the past, and then I started listening to his podcast, and just the one of the first guests he had on was his mate Ross from back in the day, and just the way they were talking about, just the debauchery, but the kind of almost loneliness of constantly having to go out and just kind of keep getting on it. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Cameron does talk about having some good times and whatnot, but like, just looking back, it's like, he was doing kind of, as he called them, like side quests, where he would just be so wasted that he would just kind of disappear off and not be kind of part of the crew anymore. And they'd be like kind of getting worried of like, where's he going to end up? What's he going to do? Like, he'd end up in hospital, or his dad would have to come and get him, and then he'd go missing, and his dad would find him kind of wandering down the street, and just absolute kind of carnage, and it's like, where is the fun in that? I mean, I know we did have some fun times, but like, when it starts to get like that, it's like that the fun is kind of gone. You might have a few nights here and there that are, semi all right, but that you've had to control yourself so much in order to not go over the top. And when you're having to control what you're drinking, and it's not just this inbuilt thing like some people have, where they can have, I don't know, 5-6 drinks, and then they've had a good night and it's time to go home. When you're like myself and you're like Cameron, where there is no off switch, it's just keep going until you kind of pass out, fall apart, or end up in the police cell, or whatever. It's a scary place to be. And I think, with Cameron's story, like, he did have that time where he was, his parents went off to France. Like, he grew up in Jersey, and they went off to France, and he didn't want to go, and he was kind of bullied straight away at this college where he couldn't speak French, and they were spitting on him and stuff. So he's like, fuck this, I'm going back to Jersey. And, I guess it was kind of that freedom where his parents weren't about. He's living with his aunt, and like, one of his mates had this huge big house where they had, like, free reign, huge big kind of grounds where they could go down the bottom, have a bonfire. It's like having a little mini festival. So, where's the harm in that? You're just going to go and enjoy yourself, aren't you? But it's like, when it gets to that danger zone, that's when, it's time to kind of call it quits. And Cameron's still in his mid-30s, so it's good that he's kind of got to that point early doors, and he's like, you'll find out that he's still early days, and he's really kind of getting to grips with his ADHD that's just been diagnosed, and just kind of working out where he needs to be and what he needs to do. But that'll come with time, and that's the thing. Like, he says in this, like, where it's really poignant, where he would just wake up on a Saturday morning and go and grab a can, and his girlfriend would say, like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, yeah. I know this is bad. I know this is wrong, but I'll deal with it tomorrow. But for today, I just need to escape. I just need to get out of this and get out of my head, and that's when it's worrying, Cameron, like, he's got an amazing podcast, and, I loved having him on After Hours, because his story was so similar to mine, but also different. There's about maybe 10 years difference between us in age, so it was similar in certain aspects, but it's just got so much kind of yeah, I guess similarities. There are differences because we're different people, but Cameron's now living in Denmark and enjoying life. But it's just a really good episode. So yeah, sit back, guys, and listen for the similarities, because I know you'll probably find a lot like I did. And I'll see you at the end. Cheers. Cameron, welcome to After Hours, mate. How are you today?
I'm good, Jimmy. Thank you. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah. I'm good. It's do you know what I don't know. This will be going out in January, but you won't have. We had another storm here called Storm Bram over yesterday, so it was pretty blowy yesterday, and I was out in the kind of gardens and that, and just getting blown off my feet. So
You're
yeah,
still
tell the
working
listeners.
yesterday?
I was working yesterday. I was working in it because actually, to be fair, it was dry. It was a storm brand, but there wasn't much rain at all. The wind was like, mental, and like being on the Isle of Man, we're a little island, so they shut a lot of the coastal roads and things like that because it was just coastal overtopping and stuff. But yeah, whereabouts in the world are you, Cameron?
Well, right now I'm living in Copenhagen, Denmark, but I'm originally from also a very small island called Jersey in the Channel Islands.
Yeah, that's right. I
So
forgot it's Jersey as well. I mean, the Isle of Man, Jersey, and Guernsey are all kind of the Channel Islands and Isle of Man. They all seem to be kind of connected in a weird kind of way. You guys get a much better summer and weather-wise because obviously we're close to France.
and
But
we're a little bit protected by that. What would you call it? The peninsula of France, the part that sticks out, kind of
yeah,
gives
is
us
it
a
Brittany or
nice.
something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Brittany Normandy area. Yeah, they sort
Yeah,
of give us a
yeah.
good protection from any battering.
Well,
which
that's
we
it.
need.
We just get battered, middle of the Irish Sea. So we're getting it all the time.
Yeah.
So So tell us, about your childhood, Cameron, and when you had your first drink, mate. We'll get into it.
Childhood, a while ago now. My childhood was okay. Like, it was good actually. I couldn't, and that's what I say to a lot of people as well. I didn't have a hard upbringing. I had, not that it was easy either. I experienced. I grew up in the '90s, and my parents were both very young when they had me. So there was obviously arguments between them, which I witnessed, which maybe I shouldn't have at the time. Looking back at it now, but childhood was fairly okay. I had a good school, had a good education, had two parents that loved me. Maybe didn't have the time as such for me, but I knew they always loved me.
Yeah.
And then as a child as well, we lost two siblings, stillborn, which affected my parents as well, which probably caused a bit more tension within the household. And it's all sort of, when you look back and reflect on it, you can understand a bit more, connect the dots as to why you had why the household was how it was at the time. But my first drink was probably, it was mad because I never thought I'd be a drinker. It never appealed to me for a while. I was so much into my football and sports, and it just never appealed to me. And then it was as I was leaving secondary school, so that must have been about 15, 16. Some of the lads start getting some cans out on the Friday or Saturday night, and even then I was a bit like, what are they doing? Like, they've got football tomorrow. And then one night I just I just thought okay, give me a can, let's see what it's all about. And it's a mad feeling, because as soon as I had that one can, it was okay, I want another can, this feels pretty good. And then I want another can. And then the first night I drank, paralytic. I was absolutely paralytic. And
because you probably didn't need a lot as well. I mean, I was the same. I think I had 3 or 4 diamond whites, and I was on Mars.
I mean, I used to get given
No
panaches.
You have no tolerance, so it's like it's crazy.
So I was wasted, basically wasted. And then I woke up the next day, and obviously at that age you didn't really have much of a hangover, so I thought, this is all right, then I'll just do this every weekend. And then slowly it became every weekend, and it just was just chaos, really, just pure chaos. And it happened very quickly, and it got to the point where I remember going to a party not far from our place, and I was just drinking out the vodka bowl, like, straight. And people are thinking you're mad or you're cool or whatever. So
it's kind of like that whole. Do you know what I mean? Your hero drinking. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, look at that legend! Look what he's doing.
That's exactly what it was.
He can handle, and it's like, but I mean, I was the same as you. Like, if there was ever anything shot wise offered, I was always up for it. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't, there was never a no for me.
No.
And I quite liked that kind of persona that came across, that like, oh, Jimmy's up for anything. Do you know what I mean? It was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll drink you all under the table. I probably couldn't drink people that many under the table at that age, you know, because it was like, you know, we were just getting paralytic.
But it's exactly that. It's the hero drinking, or it's the bravado between your friends. It's like, yeah, I can drink more than you, or I can drink more than them, and it's like, well, what a crazy thing to be proud of. Like, I can drink more alcohol than you can. It's
in hindsight, it is crazy to think about, but at the time, like, one of my friends and me, we used to get a bottle of vodka between us, or we'd just get a half bottle each and pour it into a bottle of Iron Brew. So we'd pour out half the Iron Brew and then pour that in. So it just meant we just had to walk around like the village, the park, the woods with a bottle of Iron Brew. Whereas all the other guys, I mean, that wasn't straight away. That was, we built up to that. But all the other guys were like still drinking Merry Down cider, and you know, so we'd moved on to the hard stuff pretty quickly. But it was like, oh yeah, we're legends. You know what I mean? We're drinking vodka. And it was
and it was the old get a 500ml bottle, pour it half out, and then pour the rest in with vodka or your liquor of choice. And we used to hang outside the shops or like the precincts, and we'd just wait for some random people and just be like, can you go get us some vodka, or can you get us some of this, and then some people would do it. Obviously a lot of people wouldn't, but they'd get your alcohol, and then you'd go around the back and top yourself up, or you would just ask your mates, or you'd look in your parents' sort of cabinet, what have they got, and you'd bring that out, and then you just concoct something. I've got a bit of whiskey, I've got a bit of rum, we'll just put that in, and we'll just see what happens.
Just put it all in together and just see what happens. I mean, it's absolute madness, like thinking back, like we used to go and raid my folks' drinks cabinet, and I don't know, my stepdad had this, he'd got it from a friend of his who was the chief taster at a whiskey distillery in Scotland. And I mean, you could tell, like, his nose was proper veiny, purple. You know, I don't think the chief taster's meant to be swigging it all the time. I think they're meant to be spitting it out, you know, but he obviously wasn't. Anyway, he got this bottle from my stepdad, and it was called the Manager's Dram. I don't even know what brewery, what distillery it was, but I think it was 80% proof, this whiskey. And obviously me and my friends were nicking a bit of that. But then what I did was, because obviously it started going down quite quickly, and I don't think my stepdad had even touched it, and we started pouring water into it, and it was like, it's not vodka, it's whiskey, so water is going to completely, obviously it dilute vodka as well, but you couldn't see it. So this amazingly, probably really expensive bottle of whiskey was just wrecked. Because we drank a bit of it. But So what did you do, like, school wise? You said you left school about 15, 16. Or secondary school, did you go on to sixth form and then college, or what did you do there?
No, I left school at 16. I was pretty pissed off with my parents at the time, actually, and that's probably where it all I'd probably say where it all started to spiral or become worse with the alcohol and the drugs. Was
that kind of I'll show them, I'll quit school, and
it was more
way type thing?
I didn't want to sort of, what happened was at 16 they decided that we were going to move to France,
right?
And I had a girl, I just recently had a girlfriend for about a year or so, and had all my friends, and they were talking about taking us to France and putting me in a lycée, which is like a college, and I was like, I don't want to go to college in France, I want to go to a college in Jersey, I want to be with my friends. And and so I went over with them, and it was alright. I had half a day at the lycée and I left because I couldn't understand much of what was going on. And one of the break times there, I was getting sort of followed and kicked and spat on and called an English pig, and I was like, I don't fucking need this. So I just left, and I said, I'm not going back. And then it happened where I decided I'm going to move back to Jersey on my own. I don't want to be in France, so I went back home, and I stayed with my auntie for a bit, and then I stayed with a couple of friends, and so I was left to my own devices, really. And that's when I just started really sort of partying and drinking and taking heavier drugs and smoking a lot of weed, and it's just on my own, really. That's the only way I sort of felt. So
it wasn't a social
belonged.
At this point, was you just doing it on your own in your So what, were you living with your auntie at that point? Or were you just doing it in your room?
Yeah, I was living with my auntie, and I'd go around with my mates, and we'd smoke a lot, and then we'd drink on the
Right.
weekends and party hard from like Thursday to Monday. That would normally be how it would go. And yeah, it was just weekends, just all blurred into one, just merged. And so I was a bit. I think it was more of a rebellion, or more of a. I was just angry. I was just disappointed, and I had a job, but it was nothing that was too serious that I had to be sort of present in it all the time. So I just I went off the rails, really. I just went completely off the rails.
I guess it does sound, like, and rightfully so, because obviously your parents maybe didn't really discuss with you the going to France. They just kind of said, right, we're going. And like, I think that's okay if your kids are like, younger than 10 or whatever, but once they're kind of teenagers, and what, you were 16, it's a bit much to just go, right, we're moving, and then expect you to go to some college where you can barely understand them, and you're getting attacked and spat on because you're they're calling you an English pig. It's like that. Yeah, I can understand you've got a bit of resentment towards your folks for that, and then you're like, well, I'll show them. I'm just gonna go out and party and enjoy myself. Yeah. And so that was from about what, 16 upwards, yeah, till about what age?
Until I stopped partying.
Until you stopped partying, right? So
yeah.
So,
I'd probably say
sorry,
mid-20s,
what I meant was, like, did you, how long did you stay at your aunt's for, and what jobs career-wise did you get?
Yeah, sorry. So 16, yeah. I mean, it was really sort of. I was already teetering on that edge before we went to France, and I think that was just sort of the catalyst, or the straw that broke the camel's back, as they say.
And you had no one really watching you. I mean, I'm sure your aunt was cool and looking after you, but she's got other stuff going on. She's not like your parent, so she's.
Oh yeah, no, I had no one, but even my parents, not that they were neglectful or didn't care. They never really. They weren't too strict. Do you know what I mean? As long as I wasn't doing anything too out of. Yeah. You weren't getting arrested and
things, so it's like freedom.
Yeah. So I went with my aunties. I was there for a few months, and then she kicked me out because I came back one time from France visiting my parents. I came back late, and I woke her up to let me in the house, and she wasn't very happy. So she told me to get my stuff and leave, which was really crazy. I was gobsmacked, to be honest. I still am now when I think about it, because I still don't understand why.
You're like, I want a written warning first.
Yeah. I didn't even get a notice.
One offence,
or one strike. Just out.
What was I was like, do sleep in the garden type.
Yeah, but that's what I did. I was like, what do you want me to do? And she was like, I don't care what you're doing. And I was like, okay. So I rang my nan, and obviously because that's the only person else I knew who was there in jail that I thought I could go to at the time. And I woke my nan up, and I was like, Nan, can I come in? And she was like, yeah, of course you can. And told her what happened. She was like, fucking hell, okay. So I ended up telling my mates about it. One of my mates said, you can stay at mine. And luckily, he had like a nice big house, a big farmhouse thing. So he had spare rooms. And he was an only child as well. So he thought it'd be like having a brother in the house. And so I went and stayed with him. And his mum actually had like a bar downstairs. So we just, he enjoyed a drink too. So we just ended up sort of drinking and inviting people over on weekends, and he had like a nice big sort of field, and we'd have in the summer like camping and bonfire, and just take some ecstasy and watch the fire in all its glory. And so that continued up. And pardon?
It sounds idyllic, man, from back in the day.
Yeah, it was
just like your own little mini festival in the back garden.
It used to be like that. People used to come from all over the island just to sort of participate in the debauchery that was going on. So it was looking back, it was a great time in the moment of it. But would I do it again? It's a memory now, and I like to think of it as a memory, and that's good enough for me. So that lasted till about.
Like you know what, and I've said this many times, like a lot of the guests on here as well, I'm like, would you, if you had the option to go one way where you never drank, or this way that you're on the path now? And I'm like, myself personally, I wouldn't change a thing. Do you know what I mean? Because I am who I am because of these experiences, and I had some amazing times. Do you know what I mean? Like towards the end, it started getting messy, and the only regrets I've got is people I've upset, like family and loved ones that I've upset over the years. Do you know what I mean? But the rest of it was good times, you know. I didn't know at the time, like, the dangers of, like, obviously I knew there was dangers with drugs, but actually dangers with alcohol are much more prevalent than the dangers with drugs, you know. Alcohol is a bigger killer than drugs altogether. So yeah, it's
absolutely
crazy.
And that's what me and my mate Ross said as well in my first episode, and I think he's going to be on yours at some point as well.
Yeah. Is that whose house it was that you were?
No. He's the younger brother of my best friend who used to come to the parties as well. But Ross used to come to my place further down the line and have parties with us. And but we talk about it as well. We say the same thing. Like, we would be lying if we said it wasn't fun. That's why we did it, because it was something we found fun in, or something that made us feel alive. Or and you think about it and you think, it does sort of not scare you, but it is a bit depressing when you think, I'm never going to have those nights again. And I think that's where a lot of people find it hard to stop. And I believe, like, my cousin passed away about 4 or 5 years ago now, can't remember exactly, and he was the same. He was older than me, and I used to go out with him and do the same sort of partying, and sometimes I think, you know, we're both on the same path, and I've managed to sort of come off of the road, and he carried on. And I do believe in my heart that because when he was doing what he was doing when he was younger, he was the soul, he was the life of the party, he was the guy around town. And I think getting older and getting a family and being married, and I think he started to feel that I'm now this sort of past it old man, and that he used to go back and try and, I think, relive the moments where he was where he felt he was at his peak. And I think that ended up being his downside.
Important. And I think, you know, how old are you, Cameron?
34.
34. So I'm 45. So, you know, I, like, the 90s were my kind of era, you know, from like 13, 14 when I started drinking was like 93, 94. So it was the 90s and then the noughties. And, you know, I know a lot of my generation that are still trying to relive those days. You know, like, you'll see them at weekends and stuff, or they're like, oh, it's absolutely, and it's like, there's a time, like, I'm so glad that I had to get sober at 40, because I would probably still be doing that. And, you know, and it's what it's doing to you inside as well, because the hangovers definitely get worse. And and it's like, you know, and you're killing yourself. Do you know what I mean? Because it is a poison, and it's a carcinogen and all of these things. But not just that, it's not that cool to see, like, you know, late 30s, 40s, 50-year-old men out on a Christmas do absolutely leathered. Do you know what I mean? And like, because the young people, and I'm including you in this, but I think even younger, like the teens that are coming up now, there's not that much underage drinking as far as I can see. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure it's there, but I don't think they're getting as out of control as like I was or like you were. Do you know what I mean? Because and I think it's because there's no one filming them, you know, because there was no one filming us. They're all on camera now. Their mates are quickly, you know, if they're getting absolutely bladdered, and
that's everywhere.
Someone's going to film that, and then it's going around WhatsApp groups until you know, the cows come home. And I think, but do you know what? I think the fact that it is a drug and it's addictive, it's like people my age are still, it's almost like they're a bit lost. And what are they searching for something that is, you're never getting back? Do you know what I mean? Like, I saw a post the other day, and it was like, people our age are still searching for that place that doesn't exist. And I'm like, and it touched a chord, because it was showing like an old video console, like a Nintendo NES or whatever, and it was like, and it started a little kind of like, oh right, yeah, because that's nostalgia, and that place is for back then. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to get back to that. It's like, this is the now, here and now. But if you can constantly keep putting alcohol and drugs into your body, they're downers, man. They're going to make you start getting all introspective and questioning who you are and what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but make your life what you want it to be, you know. And without the drugs and alcohol, it can be, as you know and I know, amazing, you know. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people are, because they're so ingrained in using it as a social lubricant, it gets rid of anxiety, does it? It increases anxiety, but for those first little couple of years when you're younger and you're a teenager and you've maybe got a bit of shyness, anxiety, have a few drinks and then you can talk to anyone and you're funny to the girls or the boys and blah blah blah. Do you know what I mean? And then it becomes that crutch that everyone then relies on, because the majority of people our age, they go out and they have a few drinks because they don't know how else to socialize. And I know I'm blanket kind of canvassing everyone, but if you say to someone like, oh, why don't you go out and not have a drink? They'd be like, what? Are you mad? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they're a drinker, of course they're going to have a drink. But it's like, yeah. So you've got is it ADHD you've got?
Yeah, certified.
Certified, yeah. I mean, sorry, I don't want to say you've got this.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it's one of those things that I was kind of. So was it anxiety? When did you start noticing that? Was it anxiety? I mean, I don't know that much about ADHD, if I'm honest. No, I am learning about it, but it's
Yeah, neither did I. I always knew growing up that maybe I was a bit different to some of my friends, or most of my friends, in the sense of just being organized, or I was just so impulsive, and at school I was always told to get out, or because I couldn't sit still and I was too busy trying to be the class clown rather than listening. And but I just thought it was me. I just thought it was my makeup. I was just different. This is how I am. And it wasn't only until I got to recently, when I like the end of last year in October, where I just had a really big night out, and I ended up round at my girlfriend's place, knocking on her door, and because at the moment we're not living together, because she's got a student accommodation at the moment, which is cheaper in Copenhagen than trying to find a place together, so it works out financially for us better. But so yeah, I ended up at her place, and I was wrecked, and this is her telling me these things now, that I broke down. I said I've had enough and I don't want to be here anymore, and I'm tired of it, and I can't keep doing this, and I don't know what else to do. And I was just basically a defeated man. I just given up. I just didn't know what else to do. I kept drinking myself into oblivion. I kept feeling shit all the time. I always felt like I was pretending or faking, putting up a face, and inside I was screaming, and it was all burning down, and I had no control of myself, and I didn't know what I was going to do in the future, and like I say, the past regrets, and it was all just sort of took a toll. And I was done. I was just completely done. I told her, and broke down at her place. And then the next couple of days we spoke, and she said, I've found somewhere for you to go, and you need to go. I think you really need to go there, because it's either we continue as a couple, or you have to go and be on your own, because I can't keep going through this with you, as much as I love you, and you're bringing me down, and you're bringing yourself. I don't want to watch you sort of basically deteriorate.
Killing yourself, basically.
Yeah, basically. So I went to this program and for substance and alcohol abuse, and it wasn't until then, like a few sessions in, they were like, have you ever been tested for ADHD? And I was like, no, I didn't really think much of it. And obviously I'd seen a lot on TikTok and that, and Instagram, and I was like, I don't want to be another person like just, I've got ADHD, and be put in that sort of category. And so I was a bit hesitant, and then so I did the test, and it's probably the best grade the best grade I've ever got in my life, to be honest. So I was like, it was a really weird feeling, because when they told me about how well I did in the test, I was like, fucking hell. But I got really emotional, because I was thinking, it's not necessarily my fault then. Do you know what I mean? It's not
explains
just
a lot.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Like, I know you're saying you don't want to be another ADHD statistic with the addiction and this, that, and the other, but it fits, man. Like, I mean, I don't think I do have it, but there's so many people in this arena, in this community, that it's like you've got ADHD, and this is why you're searching to fill that dopamine hit, and all the other issues that go with it. And it's like, but I guess getting that diagnosis, it's like relief in a way, because it's like, right, now we can address this. Because with me, I was drinking because I don't know, untapped trauma, and not fulfilled in my life, and depressed. But then it was like a catch-22, because the drinking was making me even more depressed. and I wasn't filling what I was supposed to be doing in my life, you know, and I'm doing that now, and it's like, you know, that's fine. I've kind of plugged that gap, but like with you as well, you've like kind of almost worked it out and gone, and they've said, right, this is what's going on with you.
Yeah, it was like I suppose you want to call it a eureka moment. So yeah, it was, you know, the drinking was due to probably impulsivity and the dopamine cravings, and especially with the drugs and the weed, and yeah, and you know, I was just an angry person for a while, and you know, stuff happened to me. I've been attacked a few times. I've been, I think that didn't help with the anxiety, and that maybe helped, not helped, but led me to drinking more before going out to then ease that sort of social anxiety or that fear. And you know, I used to have this mad thing in my head. I thought, well, if I'm drunk enough, then at least I won't feel it if it happens again, rather than staying sober enough that I can protect myself. That's what my dad used to say to me. He's like, because you're the way you look at it is mad. He goes, would you rather not be sober enough that you can protect yourself rather than drunk enough that you don't feel it? And I'm like, yeah, but it's easier to get drunk than it is to stay sober. So I'll just drink, which is a mad sort of logic, I know.
But it's interesting because when I like going out sober now, and I don't, you know, Isle of Man's a fairly safe place, but when I've been out over across the UK or whatever, you know, London or Liverpool, and it's like, if you're sober and it gets to a certain time of night, you're like, I don't want to be here. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like you can feel the vibe. There's drunken people about. It's a bit edgy. It's like, right, is it going to kick off? Is it not? And because you're fully aware of it, because you're not in the thick of it, you're like, I want to protect myself and get out of here. Like, we've gone for a meal, we've had a few drinks in the bar or whatever, we've seen a show, we're just going to go home now because I don't want to be in that. But when you're drinking, it's almost like you feel like you've got this force field around you because you're in it, and it's like nothing can touch you. And even if it does touch you, like I've been in a few scrapes and got scars to prove it, but at the time you don't feel it, you don't care, and it's like
it was like one time I got my jaw broken. I just it hurt. I knew it hurt. And then I got up and I said to my cousin, I was like, I said, I think my jaw's broke, and he was like, no, you're fine, it looks fine. I was like, all right. So we ended up the rest of the night out, and I was partying, and I was dancing on the dance floor and drinking, and you know, I was out for the rest of the weekend. And it was even then got to like Sunday night, and I was at home and I was eating a Chinese, and I was like to my mum, I can't chew, my jaw's broken. She was like, oh, shut the fuck up, it's fine. And I was like, no, my jaw's like really sore, I think it's broken. She was like, no, you're fine, Cameron. So I was like, all right, fine, I'm okay then. My mum's told me I'm fine, I must be fine. The next day I woke up and I said to her, no, I need to go. I need to get someone to look at it. So I went to the hospital, and turns out, it was broken. I said, I told you it was fucking broken, and no one was listening to me.
People are thinking you've just been gurning your face off.
Yeah, that's what it was. My cousin was like, you're absolutely fine, shut up, you're talking. I was like, yeah, I know, but it really hurts, and I'm drunk, and it still really hurts. So there must be something going wrong in my mouth. But yeah, so it turned out to be broken. But I've had loads, you know. I've burnt this hand. Like, I've got a picture on my Facebook where like this was all like melted. It was all gone. I don't know how I done that.
You don't know how you did that, Jesus.
No, I think we were at a beach party and there was a fire, and I think I've picked up some wood that's fallen off and it's been scalding, and I've just sort of singed my whole hand. But people said they found me down at the water trying to like cool it down, and they took me back to their place to try and wrap it with like cold bandage, and I just done like I wandered off and they couldn't find me, and then this is all parts I was told days after, so I don't remember any of this. And so from when that house, there was probably maybe 30-40 minute, maybe an hour's walk from the next place someone said they seen me, and that was at my other friend's house. But he said that his mum was like, George, why is Cameron like outside talking into our bin? And I don't know. So he came down to see me, and then I was sitting in his car at this point. He's like, what are you doing, Cameron? And I'm like, well, your mum's going to take us home. He's like, no, mum's not doing anything. He's like, I was like, but the people in the back are wanting to go home too. And he's like, Cameron, there's no one in the back. And so he goes in to get his mum to see if she could like come and help me. And by that time I've walked away again, and I've ended up at this like newsagent's or corner shop, and I went behind the counter and just sort of laid down to fall asleep, and the guys took my phone and looked through my phone. This was before like your key code or passcodes and stuff, and he's looked for dad and rang my dad and said, come get your son. And then my dad comes to get me, and I've done another wander, and my dad's found me halfway down the road again and chucked me in the van. And then at this point I'm sort of like frothing from my mouth, and he sort of takes me to the hospital, and then they're looking at my hand, they're asking me what I've taken. I don't fucking know, but I was just being obnoxious in the hospital as well, because I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be out with my friends and continue partying. So it got to a point where I was a liability not only to myself but to people I was around, and I was just causing everyone grief, and it's just unnecessary grief and panic. Like, if I didn't come home, my parents would ring the hospital or the police station. Those would be the 2 phone calls they'd make, and I mean, think about it like that.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the amount of times where, I've said, like, I wouldn't even say to my mum, like, oh, I'm going to go and stay at a friend's house, knowing full well that I didn't know where I was going to end up that night, because I'd go out in Glasgow or whatever, and I'd either go to an after party, or we'd always find something, do you know what I mean? And like, maybe I would stay at a friend's house, but this was, I mean, I guess we had mobiles in those days, but it was like, I wouldn't be just sending a text to my mum, because I don't think she had a mobile till like years later. So I wouldn't be phoning the landline at like 2 a.m. to say, oh, I'm just going to so and so's house, and I'd be like, I'm fine, my mum will deal with it tomorrow. And then sometimes it'd be like 2 days before I came home, and then she'd be raging, but not only raging, she'd be devastated, thinking, what has happened to him? Like, what has he done? And then it got to the point where even when I was like a grown adult, it's like still she was worrying about me, because she knew what I was like on a night out. And it was like that with, I guess my friends started getting worried, because they'd be like, well, you were with us, and then suddenly you were off, and gone to some other house party or something like that.
You end up on your own little adventure, your own little side quest, don't you? You go off on your own little wander.
It was always a side quest, and it was like, well, and I would be like, well, I thought you guys were coming along, and they were like, we didn't even know who you were with and where you were. And it's like, suddenly I've waken up, or coming to at like 6 a.m. at some random ass's house, and they're all like, sorry, but who are you?
And you're thinking, who are you?
Where am I?
Like, we're all in the same boat here, mate. I have no idea who you are.
We've had a great night, but like, we're on the other side of Glasgow from where you want to be. I'm like, oh,
that's not going to be cheap.
I mean, at least Jersey, like the Isle of Man's, fairly small. So, but then I guess everybody knows everyone, and it's like,
that's thing. It follows you everywhere.
So how was that? I mean, did that kind of, did you lose friends, or was everyone still pretty like, oh, it's just how Cameron is, or did people start distancing yourself? Because the problem with me is I kept on moving about, so I'd have like a group of friends, and then I would have these other groups of friends, but then I would move. Like, I lived in Aberdeen, I lived back in Glasgow, then I was down in Cambridge, London, Manchester. Do you know what I mean? I kept on doing geographical, so I was just like gone before like anyone would really.
Once you had a mad one, it's like, I bet it's about time to move town now.
I mean, maybe not every mad one, because I did have mad ones and like, right, I'm off, I'm out. Sorry, going back to you.
So I suppose it's very small, and everyone does know everyone to an extent. But you don't really you have your groups of people. For such a small island, it is quite divided. Like, you have like people who live on the west normally have groups of friends out in the west, and the east have friends in the east. And so I just sort of found that I'd probably I'd have a group of friends, and then I'd get to a point where they're like, we don't want to hang out with him anymore, because we don't know what he's going to do, we don't know what he's capable of, we're sick of looking after him, we're sick of him just being arrogant and an asshole, and when he's drunk. And that was the thing, I always used to think everyone liked me more when I was drunk, because I was livelier and I was more of a party guy, and I was confident and loud, but everyone said they preferred me when I wasn't sober, when I was just myself, and I was a bit more quiet and reserved and just chilled. But I thought everyone wanted the other side of me, so I used to just find different groups of people that would put on me for however long, and then I would find someone else. So it's a bit sad when I think about it. And I never really, I mean, now that I still have my friends who've been with me throughout the years, through the good and the bad, but even then, my best friend, he had to take some time away from me. He was like, Cameron, you need to sort yourself out. Like, I can't be around you anymore, because you're too much. And I just think you're just soft. It's like,
yeah, because we don't want to hear it, do we? So it's kind of like, well, whatever, you know what I mean? I'll find someone else that wants to do the
yeah,
stuff. It's like, yeah, it is. You know, it's sad looking back on it, because I was the same, and I spoke to a few friends. In fact, I saw them in the summer when I was in Cambridge. So when I was in Cambridge, I was like in my mid to late 20s, and it was a big group of us, and we all did naughty stuff. We were drinking, heavy drinking, but I just seemed to be on it more often. They would all save it for big nights and all that, but I was just kind of on it every night at that point. And like I was saying to them, did you know that and they were, oh no, I think they said, oh, we're so glad that you kind of got sober. It's so good to see you doing so well and all that. And they were like, we kind of knew you had a problem back then. And I was like, oh, like, you know, and I guess in a way I did know, but it was just, that's who I was, you know, that was me, that was my kind of calling card. But yeah, they were just like, we thought you knew that this is how you were, like, you know, because otherwise, you know, I don't know if anyone had told me at the time. Would I have listened? Would I have stopped? And probably not, you know.
Yeah, I had decided so many times, people telling me you need to stop or you got a problem, and you know, I probably did know deep down. I just didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know where to go. I didn't have the help. I didn't have the resources. And to be honest, I was probably felt like I was having too much fun. But yeah, I mean, those points where I'd take like an Ecstasy tablet and then just go to like B&Q just for going out, and it's like, Cameron, what are you doing? But I knew it. That was the thing in my mind. It's like, even with the weed and stuff, it's like, I know what I'm about to do I shouldn't do. And I know it's wrong, but
I'm just gonna do it for shits and giggles.
Yeah, but I don't really care. I can't put the brake on me. I can't stop myself. And it was the same with my girlfriend, when, you know, sometimes I'd wake up Saturday, Sunday morning and just open a can, and she'd be like, "What, are you for real?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I don't know why I'm doing it, but I don't really care, and I'll deal with it tomorrow. I just want to drink, and I just want to forget today. I just don't want to be around. I just want to go away for a bit." And I just couldn't. I could never stop myself, even though I really wanted to. At times, I just couldn't stop.
Yeah, because that thing with the girlfriend saying, "Oh, what are you doing?" Like, obviously, like, in a way, judging you, being concerned, and going, "This is not normal behavior." But you're more willing to. In my case, anyway, I was like, "Well, I'm gonna do this anyway. So if you don't like it, then." Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's basically what it was, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, to think back now, it's like you're willing to ruin a perfectly good relationship to have a can on a Saturday morning. Do you know what I mean?
But I knew it was going to lead to. That's what I said to her. I don't know where today's going to go, and to be honest, I don't give a fuck where today goes, and I'll deal with everything tomorrow morning. So. Yeah. I'm signing out. I'll see you later. Like, it's terrible.
Yeah, exactly. This is it. I know where I'm going. And it was like my mid-30s. I met a lady, and we were just both hedonistic. So it was a recipe for disaster. But there was no judgment. There was no one to tell the other one, you shouldn't be opening that bottle.
That's dangerous. Yeah.
It was so dangerous, and that went on for, I mean, I think it was like on and off for about 3 years. So it was just codependent, because there was no one. Like, there would be times when we'd maybe say, "Oh, we've been drinking solidly now for God knows how long. Should we knock it on the head?" And then easily we'd maybe do that for probably not even 24 hours, and then the other one would come back with a bottle of whiskey, and it'd be like, "Yeah, we're feeling better," and all that. And I had seizures during that relationship. We moved around shitloads. We ended up having a pub, and the pub got trashed, and it was just, do you know what I mean? But I don't think we ever realised at that time we're drinking too much. We knew we were heavy drinkers, of course, but we didn't see it as an issue, because like, our lives was just an absolute train wreck. But we didn't put the two and two together. It was just like, oh, it's everyone else's issues because we're a solid team. We weren't a solid team at all. We were just fucking both alcoholics that, you know, we didn't judge each other. So it was like, we were happy. We thought we were happy. We really weren't.
It's like being in the eye of the storm, or the middle of a twister. You know, when you're inside there's no chaos, it's all peace and everything's good, but outside everything's all fucking flying around, isn't it? That's pretty much what it's like.
That's a really good analogy, because it was just this trail of destruction wherever we went. Absolutely. You know, like our parents all getting together and trying to help us out. We were staying at their parents, I was staying at my parents, and it was just absolute carnage the whole time. I've still got one of the cats out of that though, so she's doing
well, there you go. So you got something out of it then. Yeah.
And so what kind of jobs, and did you have your own flat, or did you share during your 20s?
Jobs, fucking hell, jobs. Yeah.
You've done like me and had my CV before I work for myself now, so I don't worry about CVs, but my CV was like that thick. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had to eventually start kind of condensing some of them, do you know what I mean? Because they were like 10, 15 years ago, so I'm like, well, I worked at this place for this amount of time, and then, you know, just kind of take a few of the jobs out, because it's like, no one
that one's not important.
I'll just say I worked there and that was it. I mean, I know this is on camera now, but it's like no one wants a 4-page CV.
No. They don't want a dossier.
We're only going to look at the last 2 jobs anyway, so
exactly. So first job was a paper boy, but I got sacked from that, so that was already a fucking sign, wasn't it? I think I was the first guy to get sacked from a paper round ever. So just 'cause I didn't turn up enough, and there was one guy he's just a rude, he's just an asshole really. So whenever it was raining, I used to just leave his paper on the doorstep, and so it gets soaked. Yeah, that was me being my petty revenge on him. So I did that, and then left school. I worked making blinds. At that point, I was living with my mate and my nan and my auntie between that period, and that's when I came back from France. And then I eventually going back to France, and then I moved back to Jersey. And how old was I when I came back to Jersey? About 18ish, 19. And then I worked in like sales for ages, like different technology shops and stores, and I was living at my parents' house. I lived at my parents' house for a while. That was probably why they were so involved in all of my our sort of dysfunction when I was drinking and the drugs and everything else. But so I finally found a job in finance in Jersey, which obviously led to more drinking, because they like to go out and have liquid lunches, and you know, they all like a bevy on the weekends or to network, and they also like other things, so I was sort of getting involved in all that. And
because there's lots of money. When I lived in the Isle of Man years ago before I moved back 5 years ago, and I worked for a bank, and do you know what I mean? Because it's offshore. There's lots of money going around. People have got money. They want to do client meetings and all that, and then there's other.
You end up just getting wasted. So but I left there because I was like, I've had enough of this. I need to get out. I felt like I needed to get away from Jersey. Because nothing was really. There was a point in like 2011, 2012. I went to Thailand for a month, and I got so, again, just wasted the whole time really. And there was one time I went out, it was New Year's, and I don't remember the New Year party, but I woke up in the back of a tuk-tuk or something in the middle of the jungle. I had no idea how I got there. Obviously I checked my ass and stuff, and I was alright. No, I said I checked my ass and that, and I think I was alright. So I just it was, I don't know how I got there. I have no idea how I got there. I was just in the middle.
But the tuk-tuk wasn't manned. It was just
there was no one there. Yeah, it was just me and this tuk-tuk, and I was like, I don't know, have a clue how I've got here. And it was just the middle of, I say a jungle. It was like a dense woods. Felt like a jungle to me when I woke up. And so I sort of, I had a little look at myself then, and I was like, I need to get out of here. And so I thought, to get away from all this chaos and carnage, I'll move to Glasgow. So I moved to Glasgow, and it didn't get much better.
Glasgow's a hard drinking city.
Yeah, I know. I've got my dad's side's all Glaswegian, so that's why I chose to go to Glasgow, because I thought I'd have people up there. Or, I've got family already, so I went up there, and it got worse. I got a job again in finance, a place, sort of financial management place, and they sacked me because I lied to them to get the job. I just lied on my grades, and they sort of called me in and said, we're gonna have to let you go. And I was like, but it's only my grades, I'm doing all right at the job. And they said, you're doing great at the job, but we can't have someone that's lying in the CV, or because you're dealing with money. And I remember the only thing I sort of said to them was, because it was lunchtime, I said, well, can I at least have lunch first and then go? And they were like, yeah, you can have lunch and then you can leave. I was like, nice one. So I did that, and then Santander. So yeah, I was all over the place in Scotland as well, and I ended up working for Red Cross in Glasgow, and I didn't last very long there. I went to Edinburgh to do like the whole stand on the street and ask them, can I talk to you for a minute? And and obviously I've got this sort of accent, and every time I'd ask people, they'd tell me just fuck up or get to fuck or when I'm not talking to you. And I was like,
what you doing up north of the border and all that kind of stuff. Edinburgh's probably a little bit better than Glasgow, but Glasgow doing that would just be like
so I just sort of like nah, this ain't for me either, so I'm just gonna, so I didn't even tell them. I just got the train back home to Glasgow. I was like, I'm not gonna go back to that place. So that didn't last very long, and then they like say there's parties in Glasgow that I was at, and I was doing the same thing. I was waking up in people's houses, I didn't know who they were, and I was putting myself in situations where there's a lot more.
Were you blacking out a lot at this point?
Oh, every time I drank, I blacked out. I can never remember a night, or I'd remember fragments, and that's where it got really sort of real for me as well. Is that I used to wake up and be like, I don't know what I've done, and I couldn't tell you what I've done, and what if I've done something that I shouldn't, that I'll regret, or something that's really serious. Because sometimes I'd wake up with, there was one morning I woke up with all this broken glass in my backpack, and I was like, I don't have no idea why I've got all this glass in my backpack. What did I do last night? Or I'd wake up, my hands would be cut, or there was one time I woke up and like my ear was bitten off, and I was like, I don't know how that happened. And it was just
your ear was bitten off,
like the top part of my ear was just sort of
Jesus.
Hanging. So I had
and
to.
You've no idea how that.
No, not a clue. So it's same with my hand, and so it's just all these things got to a point where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then there was one recent time in Denmark. I think it might have been towards the end where I went to the program where these Rangers were playing, I think, Brøndby, and people are going to know my team now. And Chelsea were playing Malmö, and my cousin came over to watch that game, and we were in the pub, and we went out the night before, and we had a great time. I think I got told we had a great time, and then the next day, I went down to the pub to have a drink because it was just before the game, and I was having just bear in mind it's my first pint, and I was having the pint, and this guy was sort of looking at me, and he was like, and I was looking at him, I was thinking, I don't know, that guy's that for me? And I was talking to my friend, and he was like, I don't know, and so I just sort of ignored him, carried on having a drink, and I just looked over again, and he's like. And I'm like, me? And he's like, yeah. And he comes over, and I'm like, oh, fucking hell. Next day, when people, because they're like, you don't remember me, do you? And you're like, oh, no, fuck, what have I done? I was like, to be honest, mate, no, I don't know. I don't remember you at all. He's like, that's mad. He goes, you took all of us and the boys around Copenhagen. He took us to the karaoke bar, and, you showed us a fucking great night. And he goes, you didn't look that drunk. He says, you're probably as drunk as you are now. And I was like, this is my first pint, mate. I said, so that was to scare me that I didn't look intoxicated.
You didn't look drunk.
No,
you were having this great night showing these people around.
Nothing.
But nothing.
No recollection of it.
Isn't it? Yeah. And obviously that's a positive kind of spin on the blackout, but like there's been, I know there's probably been loads for you, and for me it's like, what the hell did I do? And then you've got like, I don't know, girlfriends or friends texting you the next day and going, oh, you were an absolute nightmare of this, and it's just like, but you just brush it off. Do you know what I mean? You just brush it off.
I mean, a couple of days of embarrassment and anxiety, but then you do it again the following Friday. You
become hardened to it, and I think a lot of people, like, if they got that bad, they'd be like, oh my god, I'm never doing that again, or I'm definitely not going to get that drunk again. But for me, it was like, well, I will get that drunk again because that's what I do.
Yeah, it's inevitable, so I'm just gonna have to gear myself up for it
again.
I used to hate in the morning. You'd have to, especially sometimes my parents, or when I first moved to Denmark and I was living with my girlfriend, and you had to wake up and sort of sense the energy or the feeling to see, okay, did I do anything last night? 'Cause I don't remember coming home, or I don't remember it, so I need to see how they react to me to see if I need to be worried or not. And then you just get the cold shoulder, and you're like, okay, what do I need to apologize for? Because I have
no idea.
Yeah, I can't tell you what I need to apologize for, so can you help me out? And yeah, some of the stuff you'd get told, and you'd just be like, I can't believe that happened. That doesn't sound like me.
It's completely ridiculous. That's not me. That's not my character. And they're like, no, it did. And it's like, I went through a phase towards the end of, like, I'd sit up, getting drunk, girlfriend, the kids would go to bed, and I would sit up and I'd go on Facebook and I would just message old friends and seeing if anyone was awake, wanting to chat to people, just sending nonsense.
Just being a pest.
Then, being an absolute pest. But what I'd do is, I would delete them all. So, like, most people wouldn't be responding to me at that time of night, but I'd delete all the messages, and then the next day or a couple of days later, I'd get a response from them, and there would be nothing from my side because obviously I've deleted it, and I'd be like, what are you messaging me for?
Yeah, what do you want? What do you want, Jimmy?
Like, yeah. Well, obviously I'd message them, and then I don't know, just saying to myself, like, going, I'll show you. I'm going to delete these because you won't remember that in the morning. It's like, a bastard. So,
I'm going to fuck with myself. I'm just
mess myself up.
Yeah.
I was a girl on here.
Sorry,
my second episode, Kate, and she video recorded herself. One of the last times she got drunk, she turned the camera around and videoed like a 5-minute long video just pleading with herself to get herself out of this. She's not enjoying it, she's not happy. She's never posted the full video, but I think she's posted little snippets of it. She finds it really hard still to watch, but when she found that next day, she couldn't remember recording it, and she was like, oh shit, I need to do something about this.
Mess,
like, she wasn't happy sober either, but she was like, this is a message from your drunk self saying, we fucking need to get out of this.
It's two people, isn't it? It's like two people.
Two people, absolutely. Yeah,
I've got a whole load of phones that I'm trying to get fixed because they're all smashed up, probably for reasons of being out and drunk. And I know I've got some stuff on there, but I don't know if I want to watch it back. And I know my dad's got a lot of stuff as well. He used to film me coming home so I could see in the morning what I was like, and I'd watch it and I'd be like, I can't believe I was saying those things or doing those things. And so, but I don't know if he's kept them, but I don't know. It's one of those things, it's so uncomfortable to watch back because it's reality then, isn't it? You don't really, it's not a reality when it's just something you don't remember or something you're told you can't really imagine.
We become hardened to it, so we just brush it off. But I've seen a few videos of me, not many, because there's really not that many in existence. Like my ex, she deleted a lot of them, but she did send one to me when I was in rehab, and I've since deleted it because I didn't want to see it again. It wasn't anything horrible, but I was just being belligerent and I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
Like I was basically trying to say that I hadn't been drinking. So like,
well, I didn't. Yeah, when you tell, it's not.
I'm not drinking. Like clearly you have. So
you are the epitome of a drunk right now.
Oh, absolutely. You can't even look up and speak properly. It was horrible. So what was the program that you used? Was it like a rehab or a fellowship thing? What was it?
It's called KKUC. I don't really know what it stands for. It's Danish, and so it's a place where you can go once if you can't afford like private help, and it's more it's geared towards substance and alcohol abuse, and you go in there and they assess you and they figure out which avenue is best for you for your recovery. And obviously you have to go in there and want to stop the drinking. You can't. They don't really advise continue drinking whilst you're there, because it sort of defeats the object. But there's people that go through different routes. Like there was a girl I know that goes there, and she's not. They've given her some tablets to help her not drink because she still finds it hard to drink. So when she has the tablets and she drinks, she just feels sick or she throws up. So it's like a deterrent.
Yeah.
But you all get therapy with it as well. So I've been lucky enough that I've had a psychiatrist and a therapist and the medication as well for the ADHD, which has helped me, I think, tremendously to get to where I am now. I think if I hadn't had the medication, I wouldn't have found it. Not that it's been easy, but I wouldn't have found it as easy as I would have had without it. Do you know what I mean? It's really given me the willingness, I think, the willpower, the drive. Because even now I don't even think about weed I didn't think I'd ever be able to get off, and that doesn't even bother me now. It's the alcohol that bothers me, and it's not so much the drinking aspect of it, and you probably agree or feel the same, and I imagine a lot of other people do as well. It's the social aspect of the drinking that I miss. It's the being out there and chatting with people, and just talking shit and having the music and having a dance, and yeah, I can do that without the alcohol. But when you're so used to, like you say, as having it as like a social lubricant, then it becomes very hard, and that's why I'm trying to bring that side out of me now again, But the program was just yes, alcohol substance abuse. That was a long answer to your question.
No, and it's great that the Danish government are doing something like that, because the UK, Isle of Man, there's not really much offer at all. There's like a few places I think that GPs offer up to the really, really bad alcoholics, like almost on death's door. Like I had the wife of a guy on the podcast a few months ago, Lucy, and she like he's gone now, but he was failed so many times by the GPs. They were saying, you're not drinking enough for us to send you to rehab, and it just was this.
Turns out he was,
yeah. Just and then he's died. So it's good that the Danish government have got something in place for and different routes as well. It's not like, right, this is what you're doing, this is the program, if it doesn't work for you then fuck off. It's like, right, we'll see what fits for you, and then for them to kind of find out and suggest to you, like, have you been tested for ADHD? Then right, we're going to put you on that route. And I'm guessing all of this is free. Like, is the medical care over there free as well?
Yeah, everything's free. So I didn't pay a penny for the program. Obviously, the same as the NHS. Well, it's not the NHS, but the same system. It's free healthcare. The only thing I do have to pay for is my medication.
Like on a prescription, yeah.
But I didn't have to pay for it until my year was up at the program. So I've only just recently started paying for it now. So I got a whole year of it for free to dial me in and find what was good for me.
Well, I was going to say that you spent a year, like, almost maybe kind of trying different strengths, different drugs to find the sweet spot almost.
Yeah, I did 50 days on Ritalin or Adderall, Medanef. I think they're all the same sort of drug. And
well, basically speed, aren't they?
Yeah, I speak about it a little bit in my podcast, and that was, those 50 days were, honestly, they were hell. There was even at that point, I had a similar situation with my girlfriend when I was actually here in my room. And I felt like I was going crazy on them. I couldn't settle, I couldn't think straight, and I couldn't really understand what was going on inside of me. And I think obviously I was getting sober, and I broke down in tears, and I was sat at the end of my bed, and she was sort of consoling me and sort of put her head on foreheads to my forehead, and I was just like sobbing, and I was just, I can't keep doing it. I'm so fucking tired. I'm trying to do it differently, and this is making me feel worse, and I was better before, and I don't know what to do, and I'm just, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm so fucking tired. It was just tired. That's all I could keep saying to her. I'm tired. And I had the same thing in the shower. I felt like broke down on all fours in the shower, and I was just crying, and I was just angry at myself at that point, because I was just, why have you done this to yourself? Why have you put yourself through so much pain? And why have you abused your body so much that you now have to go through all this? And it's like, why have you done that? And I was just angry at myself, really, really angry at myself. I just kept asking myself why.
Yeah, the thing is, and I'm still trying to find out why, but it's like, you know what? Society is telling us that it's okay to drink. It's okay to experiment. It's okay to abuse alcohol. Okay, they're not saying it's okay to abuse alcohol, but let's be honest, who goes out on a Friday and Saturday night and only has 2 or 3?
Well, the one thing that pisses me off is the
amount of alcohol. They don't
to drink responsibly.
Yeah.
Who's going to drink responsibly? You're going to tell an alcoholic to drink responsibly?
What are on the bottles in Denmark?
To be honest, I don't even think they have any warning. I don't think they have drink responsibly on the bottles. I don't think they have anything. But I did like what you said on Instagram when you said they should have, like, the cigarette packets where you have like a real deterrent.
And the thing is, that is going to come. That's going to happen at some point, because there's no getting away from it. It is a carcinogen. It does cause like 7 different types of cancers.
including breast cancer. There's no getting away from that. That's not going to change. So it's just when the governments of the world start to catch up and say, right, we need to start putting this on, because at the moment they're making a shit ton of money off of alcohol, but it's like, when are they going to make that choice to then demonize alcohol, because it's so socially accepted? But they're going to have to do it at some point, but it's just not happening yet. I mean, other countries, I think Canada and possibly Ireland, maybe Germany, have done it already, and they're trialing it. But it's like, this is where we're at. But because it's an unpopular decision, and like people like you and me saying that like alcohol's bad for you or whatever, I mean, I don't know your stance on it. For me, I'm like, people shouldn't really be drinking anymore, you know, because the only safe level of alcohol is a fraction of what people are actually told is safe. Like, I think the actual safe level of alcohol for a person to consume over a year is a glass of wine. So that's not one glass of wine a day, that's a glass of wine over a year. So it's like, and the rest of it. And I know people will be like, oh, do you know what? It's like, you can't have anything these days because it causes this and it causes that. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But as long as you're aware of what it's doing to you, then you crack on. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying outlaw alcohol. I'm just saying crack on. If you
I think that's my stance, is like, I don't think, I'm on the end where I don't really believe any drug should be necessarily illegal, because I think, one, it takes up too much resources to govern or to police, and you're never going to win that war, and it causes more bad than it does, more bad than good by criminalizing it. So I think if you're a grown ass person, I'm about to say man, but people, humans, then you should be able to, if you want to take something, you can take something, but as long as you are fully aware of the damages it's going to do, then you can make your own mind up. And I think that's the same as alcohol. Like, if you want to drink, but I don't think it should be, I just see in adverts or on posters and any sort of advertisement where they glorify it or they celebrate it, or it should be used to, when you have, like, you know, you see a wedding and you see champagne glasses, people pouring champagne, or, you know, any sort of celebration, you'll see people with alcohol, and they'll say, you know, have a good time, drink this, and I don't think that should be allowed. I think that should be outlawed more than some drugs that are outlawed. I don't think you should be pushing it.
No, I mean, the thing is, like, it's like drugs and alcohol. It should be just all as one, because, like, you know, you've got, you know, parents and whatever, our parents, or even my friends that are parents now, your friends that are parents, that, you know, if they catch their kids taking drugs, they're going to go absolutely mental at them. But if they catch them drinking, it's not as bad. I think it should be exactly the same, because, in fact, what they're doing with the alcohol is actually worse for them than the drugs. Because, like, the statistics on drug-related deaths, it doesn't even get close to where alcohol is. Obviously, tobacco is way at the top, but, like, alcohol's up here, and then all the drugs together is way down there. You know what I mean? It's because it's a socially accepted thing.
And it happened to me in Scotland when I was in Glasgow. Went out one night, and I wasn't drinking at this point, and we'd got out, and I was just really fucking stoned, like really stoned. And we got to, like, this pub club, Cross. And I turned up, and the bouncer's there, and he's like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sound." And he's like, "You been drinking?" I'm like, "No, I'm just really stoned." And he was like, "You can't come in." And I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "Because you're on drugs." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm not drunk." I said, "I'm just really stoned." Like, it's hardly. I was like, I'm hardly a threat to anyone. I said, "I'm fucking high as shit, man." Like, and that's why I never used to understand, like, the carnage or the cleanup you have to do after alcohol's been involved, compared to, like, I used to say to people, I'd rather be in a pub or somewhere where there's loads of people smoking and chatting and having, you know, just relaxed and chilling out, and you get a room full of people on alcohol, and then you'll see where the problem is. The problem isn't the weed, the problem is the alcohol, if we want to kind of put the two in boxes. So I don't understand why we're free to run riot in the streets with alcohol, because it's mental.
Yeah, but it's that socially accepted thing. We used to go to the Arches in Glasgow, like under the railway arches.
Yeah.
It was a mad techno club, and everyone in there was on pills. Like, very rarely you'd see someone drinking, although one of our friends, he didn't take any of that stuff, so he would just drink, and you could spot him a mile away.
Yeah, I bet, yeah.
He would be wandering through, well, I say wandering, he'd be staggering through the dance floor, And like everyone's just there, like in the zone, like dancing away. Do you know what I mean?
This
Having, like,
guy's
an amazing euphoric time, and this guy's just stumbling through, like knocking into people, and then going. "Ugh." And it was like I remember watching him one time, and it was like he was going to start fighting these people because he'd bumped into them, and they were just like, "Whoa, what's going to happen?" Like that whole club, it was just all pure love now. You know what I mean? And I know it's a different story now, but this was like late 90s, early noughties when it was like
the rave scene.
Yeah, and it was good times, but again, there was no real fights or anything outside that club. You go a couple of streets up outside the drinking clubs, it was just carnage, So where's the real problem? Like alcohol's the legal one, and it's the one that's causing all the fights and the aggro, and it's just and I think Portugal has actually decriminalized all drugs, and they've noticed a remarkable difference in like street gangs, knifings, all that kind of cartel stuff, like all the, what do we have over in the UK? It's like the county line stuff where they're getting the kids to go and cross the borders, like the county lines, so that the adults don't get, busted for it and all that. And then, but they're all tooled up and knifing each other, and it's just like, I know we're getting away from the subject, but it's like, what's the good thing here and what's the bad thing? Are the drugs or the alcohol, or I don't know. It's
true though, because it does it all. It follows each other. Do you know what I mean? It starts with the acceptance, or with alcohol, or the criminalization of drugs, and like you say, if something's hard to get, let's talk the drug side of it, then it becomes a black market, and that's when you get all the gangs and the people making money off of it, and then money can do things to people, and that's why you get people killing people for a piece of a city or a town, or it's
they're little, what is it, like the postcode, that's it. Do you know what I mean? It's like people like in London especially, it's like they're like they know their postcode, and it's like that's their gang. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what? Like, where are you?
I've never really understood it.
Office, do you know what I mean?
I better not move. Fucking hell,
I'm not going to move because it's like this street that was on has got 2 postcodes or whatever.
Well, technically, my bedroom's on that postcode. My kitchen's on the other one, so I don't really know where I am, to be honest.
Oh, it's fucking scary. But like, people always used to say back in the day, like, oh, weed's the gateway drug. If you start smoking weed, then that's you. No, for me, alcohol was gateway drug. Like, as soon as I had alcohol, then it was like, right, I'm going to start smoking, and then from there it was like, pills, acid, coke, whatever. You know what I mean? It was, but it all stemmed from alcohol. And I think in this day and age, we've still got this, like, oh, they're just having a little drink, it's okay, and it's like, normalizing behavior. Like, and luckily my wife, she rarely drinks at all, and so my stepkids, her kids, they never see us drinking, they never see us drunk or anything like that, which I think is a good thing. I'm sure they're going to drink at some point in their life, they're going to do it with their friends, but we're not normalizing that behavior for them. We're not saying this is okay, this is what you do. So I think that's quite a good, healthy, it might not be the way. They're going to have to make their own choices and their own decisions, and if they do come unstuck with it, then obviously I've got a bit of experience in that regard, but they've got to make their own choices, and that's the tough part. So how long have you now been sober, Cameron?
What's the date? 10th of December, so just over, coming up to 14 months now.
Nice.
Yeah, so I've got my little year
man.
token. Yeah, so my cousin.
And so is that still with that KKUC, was it?
Yeah, KKUC, that finishes next year. I've got 3 more sessions with them, and then.
But do you get your little token and chip through them, or are you doing AA through them, or what?
No, I've got 2. I've got one from a friend who he gave me his from when he went through it. So he gave me that one because they didn't do them at the KKUC, and then my cousins, when they came over recently, they got me a 1-year sober chip as well. So I've got 2 that I get to sort of. It's nice to have something tangible, because you don't really, you don't feel it as such. You know, it's like just another day, or you're going through it, and sometimes it's nice to have something to look at and be like, okay, I'm actually doing something. I'm on a path here.
I've got, I don't know where they are actually. I should probably have them in here. I've got, because I used to go to NA and CA, like not religiously, but like militantly for the first couple of years. So I had all of my chips, like 3 months, 6 months, and then years. And CA they would have their year on the key ring. So for like years, I mean, I think the last one I got was my 3rd year. I haven't been back since then. I've got a friend who's I think he's picked up my 5th year one for me, but we don't have a CA over here anymore, disbanded. But it was just nice to have that on my car keys, you know,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
just have that little key ring. I mean, it's proper battered. But yeah, it was like, you know, it's just a little thing, but it makes sense.
No, it does, absolutely, because it's nice.
So do you regret getting sober, Cameron?
Do I regret getting sober? It should be a unanimous no, shouldn't it? Yeah, but it's well,
I know what you were saying earlier about the whole, you miss the socialising aspect of it and going out, but let's be honest, man, what are you missing from that? Because it sounds like for a majority of the time you weren't even remembering it and you were doing stupid
I think it's
people
that
heard you as the sober person, but I think it's this anxiety thing, and believe me, man, that gets easier. Like you start weighing up what like are your priorities in life, you know, like, am I going to go out and hang out with those people that are going to be drinking all night, and am I going to have fun doing that because I want to socialise? Or, I mean, I could go out and do that, but then by, you know, they've had 3 or 4 drinks, they're not really going to be listening to me or making much sense anyway, so I'm going to chuck out of there. But then you start finding other things, you know what I mean? Like I've you know, met an amazing lady, you know, 2 years ago, and then we got married in the summer there, and, you know, all of these things, and it's now my stepfather to 3 amazing kids. So I've got different priorities, but like, I know what you mean, that anxiety thing about when you're first sober, about going out and it's like, what am I going to do in my life, you know? But it sounds like you've got an amazing girlfriend, and it's just about finding
I've got
other things in life, you know?
Yeah, I've got good things. It's not. Maybe I don't regret getting sober. I think that's the easier way to answer it. I think in my mind, I suppose there's like a slight nuance to it where I'm thinking I don't regret getting sober, but I'm finding it hard to deal with rebuilding myself again and trying to find out who I am again. Do you know what I mean? And like you say, find joy in other aspects of my life that maybe I used to, or just to find out who I am again. Because, you know, there was a time when I was at the pub and this girl came up to me and she was like, "Oh, so what does Cameron enjoy? Who's Cameron?" Like, just you know, came up, and I remember looking at her and I was like, I don't fucking know. I can't answer that question. And that was the first time, and that was probably 2 or 3 years ago, where I started to think I don't actually know who I am anymore. Like, I can't answer a question of who's Cameron or what does Cameron enjoy. I enjoy going to the pub.
Yeah,
that's not a fucking answer, Cameron. Like, so. Yeah. That's when I started to think about it. And I suppose I grieve my old sort of, even though it was chaos and everything else, I do grieve that sort of old person, or it's a death of someone in a sense. It's the death of my old self, of me, and I'm trying to sort of be reborn into a better person. And it's it's not having those. To think I'm never going to have a drink again, I think scared me initially, because you're thinking, what do you mean I'm never going to have a drink again? Like, all my memories come from drinking, and my life is going to be so boring. But as you said there, I've learned that I've started to enjoy and find happiness in really small moments, you know, like even just sitting in the garden, you know, throughout the summer and feeling this, like noticing the sun on me again, and having cold dips, and, you know, just the way stuff smells again, even like bacon and garlic. It sounds crazy, but just enjoying little things again, and not being so lost in just wanting to drink or party or get away from myself.
For me, it was, and even though I'm a gardener, do you know what I mean? I'm not that good a gardener, but it was like the first couple of years learning what was coming up first, you know, the snowdrops, then the daffodils, the bluebells, do you know what I mean? I was like, I never really noticed the procedure, like the structure to what happened. Like, people go, "Oh yeah, daffodil spring," but it was like, you know, now I'm like seeing them coming up, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, this happens the same time every year, doesn't it?" And like, people are going, Like, yeah, of course it fucking does. And I'm like, yeah, but I didn't know.
How long have you been around, Jimmy? Like,
It's like, but it's just those little things that started noticing. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
I think that's it, exactly that. Yeah, noticing.
Honestly, man, it does get easier. It really does. You're 14 months or coming up on that, and it's like, this is just the beginning, man. And it's like, you will start finding where your cornerstones are of who you are and what you want to do. You'll probably start finding stuff that like you were into when you were a kid as well, which is like really important to go, oh, I'm going to try that again. Did I enjoy that? Like, might be rock climbing, or I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But just delve into that, and it could be writing or photography. I did college photography, and I did it as a job for many years, and then I just kind of fell out of love with it and forgot about it for years. But when I got sober, like, I started taking pictures again, and I got exhibitions and this, that, and the other. And it was, it was like, because a lot of the stuff what I was doing when I was drunk, even if I went out and took pictures, I thought they were great, and then looked at them the next day and it's like, oh, that's shit.
Yeah, that's no good. Yeah,
that's no good. But then you're also dealing with this diagnosis as well, which is like, it's like a double-edged sword, because it's a good thing that you now know how to deal with it, and you're getting medication to do that. But also, it'll be still a kind of period of grace to kind of get yourself used to it and understand what's going on. So,
and that's what's been hard
going on at the moment, man.
That's what's been hard. It's been not just the sobriety, but with alcohol, but even, the weed was something I've been smoking since 16, 17. So that was gone. The alcohol was gone. The medication was trying to work itself into me, and so I felt like sometimes I was everywhere but nowhere, and I was like, is it me? Is it the meds? Is it because I'm sober? Is it because I'm not drinking? Is it because I'm not smoking weed? Is like, why am I feeling all these things? I can't pinpoint something, because there's so much right now going on. But yeah, I'm definitely in a much better place. Like, I can feel myself here, and I can feel clarity. I can make sense of my life a bit more, and I can see where I want to go and where I want to be. And the loneliness was was the hardest thing, I think, at the start as well, just being lonely again, because you probably know yourself, the only way I knew how to make friends or to go and enjoy myself or to socialize was go to the pub. And so when you take the pub away, it's like, well, how am I going to make friends again? How am I going to have a laugh? But no, like you said, I've tried to find myself getting back into football again, and the podcast takes a load of my time, which I enjoy, and that keeps me busy. And so it's just having goals.
Well. Like, I find the podcasting a really social thing, not just for the people that I'm like having as a guest, but like, Instagram and all that, like the people that I'm chatting to on, on DM and all that kind of stuff. It's just, it's fascinating, but it's just trying to get to know you again. And I I lived with my folks over here for like 6 months, maybe 8 months, and then I got a little cottage up in the hills over here, and I was up there for about 4 years. And I just used to, like, the first couple of weeks, months, whatever, I had the internet and I had the laptop, but I would just sit sometimes without even any music on, read books, and just be me. Do you know what I mean? And getting used to being like in my own space and being with myself. Do you know what I mean? If that makes sense, because in the past I just constantly needed a distraction. Yeah. And I think even people that aren't drinking or have a problem with drinking, people in this society we live in, we need distractions all the time. Like, whether it be your phone,
I was gonna say scrolling,
TV on, scrolling, listening. Like, I don't mind music, but do you know what I mean? We always need to have some kind of distraction because we're scared to just sit and be. And once I started learning to just be okay in my own like company, then things got easier. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I hated being in my own company before. That's why I drank all the time. I was like, what like the existential noise would come into my head, and I'd be like, fuck that, drink. You know what I mean?
Exactly that.
Once I just sat with it, and don't get me wrong, it didn't happen overnight. It took a while, and I'm still not perfect. Of course I'm not, but like, now I can just be on my own and just kind of just be. You know what I mean? Raw dog it almost.
It's a different way of life when you're so used to, like you say, just fucking trying to run from it, or when you hear those voices come back, you're just like, nah, not today, fuck this, give me something to shut that up, because I'm not dealing with it today. But I found meditating really helped for me. Like, I thought it was really sort of, hocus pocusy. And my girlfriend always said you should meditate. And so I've recently, and my therapist said it, and I was like, fine, I'll meditate. I'll fucking do it. Okay, well, it can't get any worse. So I thought I'll do it. So I've done it, and it has really helped me sort of be able to be in like a prolonged state of just nothing and myself. And so I don't, my thoughts are a lot sort of slower, which is nice, because I used to just race and could never stop them. So I'd recommend meditation to anyone, and yourself as well, if you haven't done it before.
I did it in rehab, and I keep meaning to go back to it, but it's just finding time. And I know that's a cop an excuse, but I did really enjoy it. It's very, very therapeutic. Cameron, what kind of advice would you give to anyone that was kind of early days in recovery, or just wanting to kind of get sober?
I'd say to keep going. Don't quit on yourself, because it might be tough now, and you might think there's no light at the end of the tunnel, but there is. And I think that's what should keep you going, is knowing that it doesn't have to be like this forever. And it's important to be happy and live your life for yourself and not for other people. And ask yourself that question, like when you make decisions and when you're doing what you're doing, are you doing it for you, or are you doing it for someone else? And if you're doing it for someone else, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. But sobriety, it's one of those things where it's beautiful, but it's also very painful at the beginning, because like I said earlier, you have to rebuild yourself and relearn yourself and find yourself again. But I think for me, it allowed me to be closer to who I am, who I was, and that's something I never thought I'd find again. I always thought I'd lost myself. I'd lost that person that was happy, and being sober has allowed me to find that person again. And it's been beautiful, that journey.
I don't think I ever truly knew who I was. Like I'm finding out who I was always supposed to be, if that makes sense. So there was like little shadows of who I am, like obviously my character, but like being that person now is like, wow, right, okay, this is who I was always supposed to be. But I'd always just kind of masked it with drugs and alcohol, and it was
I thought I'd lost that sort of little boy, or the person that was curious and excited for life and adventure. And I drowned him with alcohol and substances. And now that I'm sober, I'm sort of coming back to the surface, and it's nice to sort of feel, like I said, feel life again. Just life in general is beautiful, and you only get one chance at it, so make the most of it and get out of the bottle, because there's nothing for us at the bottom of a pint glass.
I love that, man. Cameron, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you so much for coming on. I loved listening to your story, and I'll put all your details for where to find you on your podcast and your Instagram and all that in the show notes. But
nice one.
Yeah, I appreciate your sobriety, man, and thank you for coming on.
No, I appreciate you for having me on, and having the time to chat with me. It's been really fun. I've enjoyed it. It's good to speak to someone else that can sort of relate. Has been there, and you don't feel so much of a lunatic when someone can relate to you.
You know what? Like, as your podcast grows, you're going to get to, like, you'll be my, I've got a few recorded, so you're like nearly the 60th person that I've sat with and sat with, which I absolutely love. Do you know what I mean? That's 60 people, 60 different stories of like just pure debauchery or whatever, and then hope and positivity at the end. And I just love hearing the stories, man. And like, you're no different to the rest of them. So yeah, thanks, man. It's just been an absolute pleasure.
No, thank you, Jimmy. You take care, eh?
You too, mate. Cheers,
we'll keep in touch.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, eh? Bye.
You too, mate. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you so much, Cameron. Great episode, great guy. Can't wait to be on his. I think that's I'm going to be on it on the 14th of Feb, so I don't know when it's going to be out after that, but I know I look cold. I'm just enjoying the look, but it is quite cold at the moment, and I haven't done my hair today. So yeah, so sorry guys, but yeah, Cameron. As I say, he's just said at the beginning, he is in early days of recovery, and he just needs to keep going at it and getting to grips with it. Having the ADHD diagnosis and just what they were doing in Denmark to be able to allow him to kind of just take his time to get the meds right, all free as well until he kind of found the right meds after a year. And then he feels like it is starting to settle down, and, him and his girlfriend are doing well and just really kind of starting to enjoy life. When I did ask him about, do you regret getting sober? Obviously, there was a little bit of a hesitation there, but that's understandable because he is missing that old life. He's missing that, social aspect and wondering how am I going to meet people and all that. But you know what? As long as he sticks with it, it's going to take time, but you will get there. And that's the thing. And it's trying to weigh up what's more important in your life. Going out and getting drunk and meeting people that way. Whereas, from the episode, like he met those people and took them on a great night at Denmark, Copenhagen, and he didn't even remember seeing them, didn't remember having any interaction with them. So it's remembering those things and thinking, do you know what, I need to try and socialize and do whatever without the booze or the drugs, because otherwise you're just gonna end up in an absolute mess again. But things do get easier, life gets easier. And that's the kind of the main takeaway from all these episodes, hopefully, that you don't need it. We don't need it, and it's a crazy madness, insanity driven life that I know not everyone ends up the same as us, but with it being an addictive drug, alcohol, then you're rolling the dice. You're taking that risk every time, because in my mind you're a couple of really traumatic experiences away from using it as a coping mechanism, but I think a lot more people are using it as a coping mechanism that don't want to admit to it. So that's kind of my take on it, my stance, my opinion, as it were. Yeah, what's going on in Jimmy's world? Well, it's the 1st of February today here. I've done my run every day January and completed it. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I was quite tired, but I did run today, which is 1st of February. So I have kind of started run every day red Feb. But we'll see. Like that. Like, I'm not doing it for charity. I'm not doing it for anything. I'm just doing it to try and keep running and get fit. So, it's one of those things where I'm just like, right, what challenge can I do? So I'm just doing it, and we'll see how long I go. I've got a few runs coming up in the Easter Festival of Running again this year. So I don't know if I mentioned that in the podcast last year. I can't believe it's a year. I know I keep saying this, but I can't believe it's a year. I've been listening to some old podcasts. I was looking to see when I first got a mic on them, and I don't think it was until about Ian Marks's episode, so about 6 or 7 episodes in, that I got a mic. So that's when the sound started getting better. Again, Cameron's episode had the old mic, but the intro and outro has this one. So yeah, but as I say, it'll start to kind of filter through unless I get a new mic, which I'm not planning on anytime soon. Coming up on, this will be out Thursday this week, so 2000 days sober for me is coming up on Saturday, which is actually my 46th birthday as well, 7th February. So yeah, so that's quite exciting. 2000 days. I mean, I can't believe I got into the comma club, like 1,000, like 1,000 days ago nearly now, and it's just unbelievable how quickly that last 1,000 days is gone. It's insane. Kind of, I don't know if I'm running out of milestones. I had my 5 years last year, now 2000 days. This year's 6 years, so it's just 6 years, isn't it? But we'll I'm sure there'll be other milestones coming up as well, because every day's a milestone, let's be honest. So if anyone is out there suffering, struggling, and just doesn't know how to kind of get sober, reach out, get help. Look at Instagram, get involved in speaking to someone, and just get help. There is someone out there that I know struggling. I've just seen today that their Instagram avatar has gone blank again, so that means they've basically gone back out there, which is sad to see. But I know they'll get it one day. Just when is the kind of the crux of it. So hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later. But yeah. Like, share, subscribe, give me a 5-star review or a 1-star and let me know why. Please comment, guys, because I love reading your comments, or on the new Buzzsprout thing, send me a little fan mail thing, and I'll talk about that following week. So yeah, until next week, guys, stay safe, stay sober, and stay supportive. Peace. Love you all.